Morning, 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 everybody. Michelle is here. I'm up pretty early on this Tuesday, November the 7th, 2023, in a place to be. Baby. I got some things I need to do early in the morning because I like to get to certain places early in the morning before the crowds. I told you I am over a lot of crowds. And I was this way before COVID. I started to recognize that there's just not a space, not a lot of space for all of us to have proper distancing between each other, especially if you're going out on a date with somebody or going out to dinner, lunch, or breakfast with someone. I've always enjoyed those kind of like intimate moments where there's not a lot of people around. You can talk and have a decent conversation without being distracted by so many people. And nowadays, a lot of restaurants are recognizing the crowds and the massiveness of the crowds, that they're now timing you to be in their restaurants. Meaning, if they want you to get up out of there, get up. They're gonna keep bothering you to get you out. Perfect example. I had gone out with some friends, and we were at a table, and it was packed already inside this place, and I was like, man. But anyway, we decided we were going to eat there, so I did. I don't like the crowds, but anyway, I went on in, and we were served, and like I said, it was massively crowded. The waitress kept coming back to us, coming back to us, and coming back to us. And when the food finally got there, I mean, it wasn't the best. I'm telling you, it wasn't good at all, actually. But, so I just let it go, because what am I going to do? I was there because I was asked to be there. And the group that I was with, the group of people, wanted to eat there. So what am I going to do? So, and anyway, it was, like I said, it was packed already in there. And then outside they had some benches or tables. I'm sorry, tables outside the restaurant too. And just before we were about to finish eating, there was a massive crowd of people that showed up, massive, and they started sitting all outside. So I knew, I could tell with the waitress, when she saw that, she was like, oh, God. I could tell, you know, that she just wasn't feeling that. After a while, that's why I give so much. That's why I give so much respect to people that work in services, those kind of service industries, because I mean, after a while, my goodness, and a lot of people say, well, at least you're getting paid. It's not about that. It's not really about that. It's about your peace of mind and having some sanity, because we know how we treat, because service people are not, well, before I retired, I recognized, the mistreatment towards service people, whether they deserve it or not. That's not for me to decide. I usually, I to be honest with you, I don't remember having any problems per se with someone serving me, because I think I pick up the energy anyway right away. And if I had felt something some kind of way, I wouldn't have gone in there. So I haven't felt that. And I told you, I always go against the grain of time. In other words, I don't go to lunch at noon. No way. I always go either earlier or a bit later. I just don't follow that trend of, showing up at noon somewhere or eating dinner at 6. Even though eating dinner at 6 is actually a good time, but I don't show up to any place when they're about to close. I just kind of put myself in the other shoes. I worked in that type of environment, when I was my first job in a restaurant. and how people will just show up and show up. All I'm saying is that I just would like to show some consideration because I wouldn't want to be treated like that. And I told you a lot of that energy goes in your food. If somebody's not happy and frustrated, all that energy goes in your food. Because it's exchange of energy. Food is energy. Okay, and so you want it to be treated properly, and you want the people handling that to be blah, blah, blah. So there's a lot of stuff in the news. Let me back up. A lot of things in the social media galaxy or the social media universe about service. And yes, service. And the thing is what we need to look at. I'm telling you, we need to look at the big picture. Why is service bad these days and has been growing and growing since the 70s? There has been a decrease in providing proper service to people. Why? Because there's so many of us. And a lot of us want special treatment. We want the best of this. We want the best of that. We always want more. Give me more. Give me more. Give me more. I noticed some restaurants stopped serving. Remember when people used to be able to drink out of those fountains and you can drink and drink and drink and drink. There was no limit. Okay, all that stuff is going to run out. My point. People used to get, and like I told you on a video a while back about the power. Now they don't want you coming into certain restaurants and keeping your cell phones plugged in. Okay, I told you a lot of homeless people used to come into certain environments and plug their phones in. That's how they were able to charge their phones. So now all of a sudden, the bill is due. That's what I'm saying. Everything was free. Now the bills are due. And no one has any idea how they're going to pay these bills, these power bills, these water bills. So guess what? So I just know that no one really wants to look at certain aspects of what's really going on because a lot of people feel fearful, and there's a reason for it. It's a subconscious reason when you say that there's too many people on the planet. A lot of people get nervous when you say that. They think about genocide. They think about, this or that and the other. And, a lot of things just has to be resolved in our consciousness about things. We're not living in the 1600s, 1700s, 1800s anymore. These realities that we face with our population, whether it's humans and our toys, is destroying the planet and wiping out the animals that provide nourishment and food for us. And on top of that, the service providers, as a first responder, we provided service, but there's going to be a lot of neglect in that. Everybody knows. If we're honest with ourselves, there's a neglect there, and it's been there for a while. In providing proper service to people, a lot of people just do not have the energy for it. And I told you it's about self-preservation, not self-sacrifice for anything. You don't want to self-sacrifice yourself for anyone, anybody. Like I said, unless you're taking care of toddlers, and that's different. Or other people, is this no self-sacrifice? Now, because you are caring and loving people, you still have to take care of you. It's all about you and your self-preservation. Otherwise, you're useless to people. So that's why I do not go into, I kind of, even though I love finer things, I really do. I love the finer things in life. I just pay attention to the type of service, not so much service provided to me, but how we treat people that provide service to us. I pay attention to that, and I see how it affects people. So that's why I stay away from crowds. I'm not going to be waiting in line to go in no one's restaurant. Sorry. Okay, and causing all that anxiety. Just imagine how much anxiety that causes someone. Yes, they get paid. Okay, but still, they're sacrificing a lot of their energy. And then you get people that are intentionally going to restaurants just to cause problems. And that's all cultures, not one particular culture. I know one particular culture is always highlighted on social media about how they behave in restaurants. I've been in restaurants and know that all cultures, all races, all genders misbehave in restaurants. But most people disregard that. Okay, because there are some that are cowardly when they don't like a particular type of service, and they'll go and try to get you fired. Okay, so what is worse, that somebody's misbehaving, or that somebody's going behind your back smiling and saying, oh, how great your service was towards us, and then go behind your back and complain to your manager about this, or complain to your manager about that, and then before you know it, you let go. How many times has that happened to people? See, nobody talks about that. Okay, so, and so like I said, we become so narrow-minded, and we don't see the big picture. Okay, all of us are mistreating people that provide service to us. Okay, as I said, as a first responder, some people were just flat out disrespectful. Okay, cool. I mean, I didn't take it personally. Okay, but it still affects me, because guess what? I still have to service that type of energy regardless, and it's going to affect me no matter what. I can't just say, okay, I'm not going to help you, not as a first responder, no, but it's going to affect the service. That's natural. Okay, it doesn't mean that that's an intentional thing, but look, it's all energy. So why would I intentionally throw myself into negativity? Well, we had to. We had no choice, whether it was negative or not. We had to provide service, but it does affect you. Okay, and that's what causes it to be toxic. Okay, so yeah, a lot of people are talking, like I said, on the social media platform, complaining about service. Well, I blame both parties. I blame people rushing up in places when it's about to close and expect. What do they expect when these people have been on their feet 10 to 12 hours? Or people rushing into places expecting, this fine dining, but complaining about everything. Nothing makes them happy. Or posting stuff on social media, hurting people, and intentionally attempting to get people fired. And I'm telling you, that comes from all cultures. All races of people do that. Some do it outwardly, but the most damaging ones are the ones that do it behind your back. The cowards that do it behind your back. You don't know they've gone to the manager or called corporate and complained on you. That used to happen to us all the time, from particular type of individuals, if you want to call them that. That they don't have the courage to tell you to your face what the problem is, when was our job to figure it out. Okay, what is the problem here? If they didn't like something if you didn't give them the answer that they wanted to hear, then they're going to go behind your back and go to the manager, or go to the mayor, or go to the chief, or go to the sheriff, because they dine together, they know each other, and blah blah blah, and try to get you fired. Those are the most dangerous ones, because those are cowards. They love to hide behind, and they do the same thing on social media. They like to hide behind screen names. These false personas, these false personalities, and all their whole agenda is to get you fired, get you into an argument, a back and forth, and some people are losing their jobs over that kind of stuff. Where somebody is just picking a fight with you, poking you intentionally just to get you fired. Okay, that's the cowardly. Those are the cowards. I like someone, like when I used to be a first responder, when I was in the culture, and certain people will come in my face and want to know why I'm in their neighborhood and blah, blah, blah. Sometimes we would go back and forth. But then when they saw my results as to why I was there, a lot of them came back and apologized to me. But at least they were in my face. But what about the ones that went behind my back and went to the mayor, went to city council? Okay, now what? And I never got an apology for that. When they realized what I was doing was helping the neighborhood, and thus causing their business activity to go up because they felt safe doing so. There was nothing unsafe about uh, the culture I was serving when I was a first responder. There was nothing unsafe about it. It was what was being pushed in there. Okay, what was allowed to be pushed and dump. It was like a dumping ground, actually. Okay, they would have homeless facilities all there because nobody wanted that in their neighborhoods. In these so-called tax-paying neighborhoods, they didn't want the homeless there. They didn't want to see no one homeless, but they had no problem throwing dollars at them. I've seen people that intentionally threw trash out of their vehicles onto the roadway in these communities. I've seen them allow environmental hazards in those communities by having all of these auto repair shops and car dealerships that leak oil over time into the groundwater. Okay, so they allowed certain activities to take place in those certain cultures. Forget, and they can care less about who was there, who also paid taxes and had beautiful homes and did everything in their power to keep their home of value. Okay, so we're all to blame for the poor service that we're receiving, and we ought not be surprised. Even the finest restaurants, for some, they're not happy about the service, and they take it out on the service providers or the waitress or even the whole establishment, like I said, by being cowardly and going behind their backs and complaining or putting bad reviews, all because something wasn't right about the water, the ice wasn't formed properly. That's where it's going, and that's where it's been going for almost decades. Now everybody is starting to wake up and come out of their trance and recognize we've had poor, degrading service for decades. Now we have social media. Now people can post it. Like I said, there's a lot of cowards out there that do not consider the circumstances. I mean, if you have gone into a place, because this is what I remember, and this is even before I retired. That's why I know what I was doing worked for me. Like I said, I did not pile up in no place at noon. That's a trance to think that you need to eat at noon anyway. That's a trance. You can eat whatever you want. That's free will. And I can remember going in places it was just me, because I used to, or if I'm with somebody, it was just two of us, and a few people. Or when I was in uniform, I would go in there, like I said, by myself. I had my own little table. It was nice and calm. There was a few people in there because I went off hours, and I got great service. So I don't remember, and I started doing this years ago, decades ago, actually. After picking up the signs of that, I just don't want to be in a crowd. Waiting in line to eat, that's like waiting in the food line. Okay, that's like, consider it. Why are you waiting in line? Why is it that we're waiting in line? Well, does that mean that there's a massive overpopulation? What else could it be? And then, and treat the service people that are feeding you. Like I said, food is energy, and you're acting and carrying on. And like I said, that's not just one culture. It's all cultures do that. I've seen it. But what gets highlighted is one particular culture, and that's what's going on online now. That they don't get along with each other, and they're upset, and they're trying to shut down this or that. That's a strategy that someone's promoting online to take away the goodness of some of these cultural restaurants in Black culture and Latino culture especially. Asian cultures. I love Asian culture food. I love it. Latino, but somebody wants to break that up though. Pay attention. They're trying to break up that because it is successful. But all because one person has a bad review or a bad experience, whether it's about the water or this or that, they're not considering the big picture. What caused this restaurant to possibly not have pristine service? Well, on most occasions, there's 10 people. The most is 10 people in their restaurants. But now, if they increased it, that they got hundreds of people in their restaurant and they had hundreds of people waiting, you don't think that's stressful to the establishment? There's an occupant, they should have where how many people are supposed to be inside those restaurants. Amount of occupants in those places. Are they violating that? Okay, so we just have to be creative and understand that it's not, in most cases, these restaurants may be providing the best service they can, but it's impossible to expect them to be always on their toes. These are human beings that serve you. But now, if you want the AIs to serve you, these AI generated human beings to serve you, okay, pick your battles. Okay, pick your battles. Somebody is picking up just the culture that normally is picked up and pushing this narrative that they are not providing good service, which is possibly a lie. Okay, and I listened to so-called critics, and they said they didn't say anything that was derogatory or would cause all of this firestorm about service. These establishments are overwhelmed and they don't want to say it. It's a lot that they have to handle. Okay, imagine for years upon years, you had the most is 10 couples in your restaurant. Now you have anywhere maybe 50 or 100. That's stressful for anyone. I don't care how long you've been in the field. Same thing with being a first responder. Going from call to call to call to call to call to call. That's stressful and toxic. It's a toxic environment, whether it's first responder or anyone that's providing service to us. Okay, and we are making it to where who would want to work in that environment? I would not. I don't want to do anything that has that type of service, that one-on-one service like that ever again. Okay, that kind of massive amount of service or expectation of that type of service, as a first responder. No, I would not. Not at all. I'll do one-on-one. I love the one-on-one in small groups. Yes, that's where I'm headed. Okay, but I do not do crowds. Okay, I go against the crowds. Okay, I go against that flow of people. And why, like I said, why we don't think a little differently and change our mode of thinking is beyond me. Again, all because it's noon doesn't mean that you need to be in a trance and go run into a restaurant when thousands and thousands of other people are doing the same thing and expect fantastic, top-notch service. That's illogical and that's not fair to people that are doing this service to feed us. Okay, so I wanted to put this out a while ago, but I see that like I said, it's like a firestorm now on the social media platform where they're making it into a cultural thing. This is happening in all provided services. It just it's not entertaining. That's the difference. And it's not known because, like I said, a lot of people will go behind your back. You're smiling, giving them the best service you can. They'll go behind your back and go to your corporate office, send derogatory and unfavorable emails to this. I know the mayor, I know the chief, those types. Those are the ones that are causing you to lose your job. Okay, so we have to be creative in our discussion, in our conversations with each other. Okay. Forget about fairness. I don't know who provides any, there's no one that's necessarily that I see visually that provides proper fairness, especially when it involves certain media outlets. Certain media outlets love entertainment. They love negativity. That is what pays their bills. They love war. That is what pays their bills. Peace does not pay the bills. Okay, peace does not pay the bills. Okay, I can guarantee you before all these wars started, especially the recent one, and a lot of people are probably saying, well, which one? I mean, so many. There were certain media outlets that were folding. I can guarantee it. They're folding. They're losing. They were in the process of losing, laying off some of these reporters, laying off some of these anchors. They were folding. And this was what was a blessing for them was war. Okay? So, know what you're asking for. Learn how to think differently. Change your mode of thinking. And get out of your trance. And wake up. Get a grip. And pay attention to what's going on. Okay? I'm going to send peace and love. And trust me, I'll be back.